Here with the one and only Congressman Eli Crane, who was in Washington this week for Donald Trump's visit to talk to House Republicans. Could you tell us how that went and what the president's message and reception was?
Yeah, no, it was a great event. I'm glad President Trump came to Capitol Hill. It was cool because, as you know, this has been a pretty divided Congress, and so I think that, by him coming, I think it was one of the introductory meetings where he's going to, do his best to bring this conference together. And, that's going to be a big task. But I think that when you look at what the Republican platform stands for and how effective Donald Trump has been, I think he's one of the few guys that can do it. And I look forward to getting behind his leadership. I look forward to him winning in November. And I look forward, most importantly, to helping put this country back on the right trajectory.
The House and the Senate have always had different dynamics.
Yeah.
It was remarkable that after President Trump met with House Republicans, he walked over and met with the Senate Republicans and seemed to get a very good reception. It really seems like Trump is not only uniting the party like it's never been before, but also growing the party. Is that kind of what you're seeing?
It is, and I think it's important too that we understand that. I think a lot of it has to do with even Republicans, and I'm no fan of a lot of Republicans just because they tend to be so weak. But I think even a lot of Republicans, especially with the lawfare that we've seen going on in this election cycle, are starting to realize this isn't the old Republican Party. This isn't the same set of problem sets that we've dealt with in the past. This isn't big taxes, little taxes anymore. We're starting to deal, and we are dealing with tyranny and totalitarian forces that are trying to, take out their political opponents, in addition to destroy the country and remake it into something that I don't think any of us really want. And so even Republicans are realizing, I think, the necessity and the need to get behind a strong leader, and everybody, regardless of whether they like President Trump's tweets, or his personality, understand there's nobody stronger than him.
What should Congress be doing right now to address the lawfare that's been unleashed upon Trump? Congress is so good at sending strongly worded letters, but is there more that should be done right now to help Trump?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we could have seen a lot of these investigations go a lot deeper. I think we could have seen subpoenas actually get dropped. The other thing that we can do is we could have used the power of the purse and defunded a lot of these outfits that have been weaponized using taxpayer dollars to go after political opponents of the Democratic Party. But just like we saw Republicans reluctant to do that on the border, saying, oh, well, we don't want to use the power of the purse on the border, which would have been one way that we could have shut down the problem at the border. The response was, well, if we do that, it'll become a government shutdown, and then we don't know if we'll win that political fight. And my message to Republicans is what I hear from people at the grassroots level. Hey, these people, they need us to actually start fighting. Quit talking about fighting on campaign trails and be willing to fight. Because the bottom line is the American people, they don't always expect us to win, but they do expect us to fight. And that's something that the Republican Party is not known for.
Speaker Johnson has mused about the possibility of, at the end of this fiscal year, at the end of September, passing a lame duck CR so that Congress could address government funding in that post-election time frame, but before the new Congress, and we hope a new president comes in. He said that would clear the decks for the president so he wouldn't have to worry about government funding in the early months of his potential presidency. Where are you on that? What do you think is the right strategy for addressing that government funding? And as you said, taking the opportunity to perhaps use the power of the purse to address some of these issues.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at my voting record, I haven't voted for any of the CRs. I haven't voted for any of the minibuses. Where I stand on that is, we need to do the appropriations bills by September 30th by law. I mean, that's what we need to do. And the reason we need to do that is that's the easiest way to get rid of the woke and weaponized from the federal government, and also to cut spending, which is, everybody knows, is completely out of control. That's where I've been. Do I understand that some CR might be the best option that could actually pass in this pretty pathetic House? Yeah, I understand that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I would love to see us actually do the appropriations bills like we're supposed to, so that we can get rid of the woke and weaponized. And pump the brakes on the out of control spending.
You've got lawfare being launched against Trump in Manhattan, Washington, D.C., Florida, Fulton County, Georgia, all the 14th Amendment cases that popped up in states all over the country. Do you think Democrats overplayed their hand? It seems like
wildly.
In the aftermath of Manhattan, folks rallied around it.
Wildly. I mean, it was like nobody had the common sense on the, hey, in the planning of let's get Trump operation to say, hey, maybe these 4 massive lawsuits to the tune of 750 years in prison, that might come off as if we've become tyrannical or this is a banana republic. Like, can you believe that nobody had the common sense to say that? I mean, if they were smart, they would have said, hey, maybe 1, maybe 2 lawsuits, to the tune of 5 to 10 years. Even that would have been bad, right, for the leading presidential candidate on the Republican side of the ticket. But these guys they have such a bloodlust, and they're so tired of getting their tails whipped by President Trump that they completely overplayed their hand, and now it's completely, biting them in the butt. And I think it's a good thing. I don't wish the adversity that President Trump has had to go through on anybody, but if anybody can take it, it's him.
What are you hearing when you're back in your district? I know you're running re-election right now, have a primary coming up in July.
Well, they're fired up. And when it comes to my race in particular, what I hear from the base is thank you. Thank you for actually going up there and doing what you said you would do. Thank you for fighting for us. And so it's been an honor. As far as President Trump, they're extremely excited about President Trump. We just had a Turning Point Action rally back in Arizona this last week. I got an opportunity to attend it, and it was on fire. I mean, thousands and thousands of people were waiting in line to hear the president. And the reason is because they love this country and they understand that it's falling. They understand we're losing it, and they see him as the biggest, they see him as the biggest opportunity for us to hold on to it. And I hate to put that much pressure on him. Nobody wants to put that much pressure on him. But that's how they see it. That's why they're excited about this election, and I know they're going to turn out for him.
It seems like with all the Democrats have done to try to defeat Trump, to keep him off the ballot, it seems like there's nothing that they won't do. How important is it for Republicans to right now to go ahead and get the foot on the gas in anticipation of whatever Democrats might try?
No, it's 100% extremely important. It's why I think you've seen individuals like myself make moves up in Congress, even as a freshman, that have never been made before, right? We fired Kevin McCarthy this last year. I know not everybody agrees with that move, but I think it's because, to your point, many of us feel like we don't have a lot of time left. And when you don't have a lot of time left, you have to increase what you're willing to do to make change. And that's why some of us, I think, are making moves that aren't always common in Washington, D.C. As far as Turning Point Action and what's going on here today, I mean, this doesn't even feel like a political event to me. It feels like a rock concert or something. And I'm so excited to be here because, to your point, I love what Turning Point has done, Turning Point Action, and just they're recruiting, not only recruiting, but they're energizing and educating the next generation that's going to save this country. And what did Ronald Reagan say? Freedom is always one generation away from extinction. And if this generation, if groups like Turning Point don't energize the next base of Americans coming up to understand what they've been given and what it's going to take to keep it, this country is going to go the same way that every major empire has. And that's why some of us get on a plane every single Monday or Tuesday, fly up to the swampiest place in the world and wage war up there, just because I'm so grateful to have lived a good life, and I want my kids and all these young kids at Turning Point to be able to do the same.